Alright guys, here's something pretty cool. As I was moving this tarp around that's been here for a while. Hey guys, how's it going? Josh here once again, and I'm very happy to see some actual sun in the forecast. It's definitely starting to feel a little bit more like spring again. And we got some germination going on too, and a few things to show you guys. For a while there, we had some like terrible weather. We had like freezing temperatures, followed by snow, followed by a few weeks of rain straight. And it was pretty brutal. But finally starting to warm up a little bit. Starting to see some signs of life in the nursery again. So I'll show you guys a few things, and I'll take you along for what I'm doing today. So here we got the bed of red columbine we planted. Got a few of them starting to pop up. You see the leaves there, leaves there, leaves there. I was a little worried about how they would do here, but they seem to be doing okay. So I'm hoping in another month or two, this whole bed will just be covered in red columbine, and we'll be looking really nice, and we'll get lots of seeds hopefully. Then over here in one of the last videos before it snowed, I showed us planting this bed with annuals. You can see lots of them are coming up now, all over the place. This bed's going to be really nice, I think. Unfortunately, it looks like we got some kind of animal that walked through it a little bit, made some footprints in there, so I put these crates around it to hopefully deter it from going straight through this bed. I don't know, it's got to be either a deer or a coyote. It's hard to tell from these footprints because they're not really refined. Maybe a coyote, but that's okay. I also planted this bed off camera after the snow had subsided. This one I planted with Clarkia Monet and Colomia grandiflora. See, these ones I planted like 3 weeks after the first bed, so they're a bit smaller, not quite as developed yet, but by March they'll probably be quite a bit bigger. It's only like what, mid-February, probably like mid-March, April. By like May they'll probably all be blooming and stuff. I filled in this bed with soil too, which I'm actually going to move all my camas bulbs to today. But I think the first order of business is going to be finishing cleaning up that pile of garbage over there. I cleaned up quite a bit of it before, but it'll be really nice just to have, that pile over there too, all out of the way and cleared up, and not have to worry about it anymore. And I'm going to be hopefully continuing progress on this orchard. To be honest, I don't know how much I'm really going to get done before the big spring rush hits at this point. There's always so much to do leading up to spring, and it's hard to find time and energy for everything. But we'll see. Not everything has to be done all at once, all in the same year. It takes time to progress and, build up everything you want to do, especially with like projects like this. But, ideally I'll get like a few new species of seeds available each year. And also like build upon the ones I already have. So, time will tell. I'll keep you guys up to date. Anyways, I'll be back once I clean up this garbage. Oh yeah. It's actually really pleasant today working outside. This is the first day since like probably the fall sometime, maybe like September, since I've been able to work outside with just like a t-shirt on and not wear like 6 layers to keep me warm. So it's pretty nice to be back at this, because winter always feels like such a slog to get through. All the things I like are like not really there in the winter. The snow and bad weather, I can't see cool plants, It's always like such a waiting game. I was counting down the days till spring, so really nice to feel spring finally coming on. I think there's like a month or so left till spring, maybe like 40 days, at least here. But yeah, just really nice. Alright guys, here's something pretty cool. As I was moving this tarp around that's been here for a while, there was a long-toed salamander here, a young, pretty young one, I'd say. You see the size of my finger next to him. I actually found some of these guys once before, when I was moving that pile of boards over there. So I'm glad I saw him here and stuff them in the garbage bag. I'm gonna look through this more carefully just to make sure there's no more of them. But yeah, they like these like wet places to stay wet. So I'm probably gonna relocate him underneath that pile of wood over there. I imagine that'll be a good spot for him, because that's where I've found them once before. Because in these little wet places, there's lots of little insects and worms and stuff, which is what they like to eat. Also, guys, good thing to know about amphibians, frogs, salamanders, all that stuff. You know, a lot of people I see just like picking them up like willy-nilly. Never pick them up, especially with like dry hands. You know, you at the very least want to make sure your hands are like wet, because we have a lot of oils and other things that can be on our skin that can be really harmful for them because they absorb a lot through their skin. So, you know, never just like pick them up with like dry hands. It can be fatal for them. So it's a good thing to know. I try to tell people when it comes up. But yeah, pretty cool. He's just chilling. Yeah, I got him here. He's a better look at him. You know, I always wonder where these guys come from too, because like there's not really any ponds or bodies of water around here. Not like within like a reasonable distance where I could imagine them like dispersing, but I guess they must find a way. I mean, there's a ditch along here, but like usually by like summer, even late spring, depending on the weather, it's like dried up already. So I really wonder how these guys manage to disperse and everything. Try to keep them out of the light. But yeah, I'm gonna go put them under the wood over here. But pretty cool to find these guys, because I rarely ever see salamanders. The other thing I think would be really cool is if we could make a little like breeding pond or something for these guys and other amphibians around, because these guys are clearly around, but we also see, I see a lot of tree frogs around too, Pacific tree frogs. Oh, hi, a little isopod. You know, you just gotta make sure if you're making ponds that they're like, I think vernal would be the term, where they dry out by the summertime, because that prevents things like bullfrogs from breeding as well, which are, of course, an invasive species here. Oh, there he goes, moves a little bit. Hey, buddy. Oh, man, he's so cute. I love amphibians. Okay, I'm gonna put him down near this wood pile here. I'm sure he'll find a space for himself. All right, there he goes. Bye, little guy. Yeah, really surprised to find that little guy here. You know, under the wood pile was one thing, but you know, underneath like a bunch of plastic tarps, I mean, I guess it creates the habitat they need, where it's like stays moist and attracts other insects too. But yeah, that's a really cool find I wasn't expecting today. I'm gonna see if there's any more of them before I finish stuffing this into the garbage. And yeah. Now is also the time of year again. You see these guys a lot in the fall and early spring. They're called woolly bears. They're caterpillars. This guy's rolled up still. But now's the time of year where you see them starting to move around again. And they actually turn into Virginia tiger moths. You know, some superstition about them where you can tell if it's going to be a long or short winter based on like how thick their bands are. But of course that's not accurate. But still, they're always like kind of fun to see. And they're quite prolific too, because they have a lot of different plants they're able to feed on. I took out this tarp from the garbage to make sure I didn't, you know, throw any salamander. It looks clear to me. I don't think there's any others in there. You know, even when we were moving that giant pile of boards, we only found 2 in total. And they were only on the very bottom as well. But I think I'm going to sort of leave this tarp out and let all the insects escape as well before I finish bagging it up. Besides that, there's mostly, you know, worms, some little isopods, some centipedes around. Nothing too crazy. Of course, there's always lots of snails. These are European grove snails. They're the most common ones you see around. They're like basically an invasive species here. We do have some native snails as well, but you don't typically see them out of their natural habitats. I keep finding cool things to show you guys as I start cleaning up here. But I moved some more tarps here. Wasn't anything too interesting, but I do got these guys, which I think are probably just snail eggs or something like that. I'll put them into iNaturalist and see if it comes up with anything more specific. If so, I'll put it in an annotation below. But they look pretty cool. Now, got some nasty guys here. I think these guys are called black slugs, or maybe these are leopard slugs actually. That looks leopard-like. Either way, they're another invasive species like the European grove snail. I think all gardeners kind of hate these guys because they eat everything. And they're not native like our banana slugs you find in the forest that are actually quite beneficial to the ecosystem. These guys are kind of just, everyone hates them. And they will eat all your baby seedlings if you have them too close by. Okay, finally done the cleanup. As you can see behind me, all stuff's done, which is like quite nice. Opens up the space quite a bit without that big pile there. Same with over here. Got the rest of that all cleaned up. It took a lot longer and more garbage bags than I thought. I got about 6 more garbage bags filled up with all that crap. But I'm very glad to have it out of the way now. Now, next order of business is I'm going to move a bit more soil out here and hopefully move all my camas bulbs over if I can get to that today. Not anything too exciting or new to show in here, but I do have some of the first seedlings of the year starting to germinate. Here's some blanket flower seedlings, Gilardia aristata. And there's not too much germinating yet. It's still early. It's only like mid-February while I'm filming this video at least. There's a couple gumweed seedlings here, which is Grindelia integrifolia. Got a few woolly sunflowers starting to pop up there. They're usually one of the first ones. Them and the red flowering currants, or Ribes sanguineum. Oh, the Ribes has not popped up yet, which is surprising. Kind of makes me worry, but you know, it'll probably still come up. Or at least some of it, so I'm not too worried yet, at least. There might be a few others that have like a single seedling or two that have popped up, but those are the main things so far that have come up. Besides that, the other day, I finished planting pretty much everything. There's a few things I usually leave until this time of year. Like here's some cuttings I'm doing. I don't usually do much in the way of cuttings. Also, this is not twinberry, by the way. That's an old tag. These are actually snowberry cuttings I've taken. You know, I'm gonna grow them from seed next year, but I was a bit late to the game to planting them. And these ones are western honeysuckle cuttings. You know, they're actually not hard to grow from seed, but just coming across the berries and seed is actually quite difficult. I don't know if it's just like the climate conditions we've had the last like few years, but you know, whenever I know some places with good patches of them, but they rarely seem to make much in the way of berries, or they might need like very specific conditions to do so, or like, you know, I don't know if it's just like really hot summers we've had that have been kind of making it more difficult for them to reproduce or what, but the seeds have been pretty tough to come by and collect the last few years. But they're not hard to grow from cuttings either. And they're quite a lovely vining shrub, which we really don't have many vines. So I like to have some of them at least. But besides that, nothing too new in here. Lots of plants are starting to pop up with some new rhizomes and stuff like that. New leaves. You see some of the lupine here popping up nicely. But besides that, I'll get back to the work in progress. Alright, next order of business, which I might not get totally done today, but this is the old bed where I had common camas planted. So I'm going to carefully dig this out and move these bulbs into the new section where I just dumped more soil, topped it off. Because, you know, as you can see, it kind of got overwhelmed with weeds this year. I got a better plan. Got a fresh bed of soil, gonna put mulch over it. So I shouldn't have to deal with weeds hopefully in the future. Makes it a little bit easier to maintain. But these are the bulbs. You can see this guy. This guy's a pretty big mature bulb. Definitely bigger than I remember them being last year when I moved them. So that's cool to see. But yeah, I'm gonna try to dig them up and just kind of spread them out in here evenly, get them all planted. And I'll show you guys once it's done, although it's probably not going to look much different than this. Alright, I only dug up a little bit of that bed so far. It's going to take a while, so I'm probably not going to finish today. But I want to show you guys what we're doing here. We have these bulbs. Some of them are quite large, some of them are quite small. Hey, there's an average sized one. There's a little tiny one that's probably a little offshoot of one of the more mature ones. I'd really like to offer these as potted plants someday, which I have like once before where I was able to get them from someone else. But they're very slow growing, like anything in the lily family. You know, they take like a few years to get to a flowering size. You know, you're usually looking at like probably around 4 years at least for that. You know, you can, I've heard, grow them faster too if you use a lot of fertilizer. But ideally, I'd like to, you know, keep expanding this bed until I have enough that I can just, you know, take some bulbs each year and pot them up and it'll be good to go that way. It's probably a faster and more sustainable way of doing it. But yeah, that's what we're doing now. I'm just gonna make little tiny holes in here, pop them in for today, the ones I have so far, and I think that'll probably be it. Alright guys, I think that's gonna be it for today. I'll show you the progress on the camas bed and the other things I'm working on in the next video, hopefully. Yeah, I've been quite enjoying making these videos lately. You got 3 whole videos in a month. That's a record for me in this channel, so hopefully I can keep it up. It's been pretty fun lately. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you guys later. Peace.